it up again a little bit. This is Crown Knowledge Radio. Those with sight can only see the light. Power in the crown, in the crown, in the crown, in the crown. Hello, everyone. This is Jordana, and welcome to Crown Knowledge Radio. I am back on the air today. So, wherever you are, good day, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I am coming back on today to expound on the nuances of being targeted, but I want to focus right now on the idea of destiny swapping. I call it something else, and I'll get to that in a moment. But it's basically, I'm going to keep it real simple. Be careful what you covet. Be careful what you covet of someone else, anything else, someone else, or anything that someone else has. Just be careful of that. And that's pretty much the basis of destiny swapping. I can pretty much stop the program right there. But be careful, especially in this energy. Now, I don't even know how to say this, but there was a time when, energies flowed maybe in a certain moment in your life at a certain age to allow you to feel like you could look at someone else and aspire. That's the word that I almost lost. You could aspire to be like someone else. You look at someone's like, man, she doing this. Let me see if I could do it. And again, I'm looking at a certain age range, maybe a certain time in existence, 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s. There was a group mind set to be better. Slavery wasn't that far away. Jim Crow wasn't that far away. Back in the 50s, 60s, we still considered it relatively like, wow, a lot of people were just finding out about what, these particular civil rights and, the whole Martin Luther King movement. That was, I believe I'm getting ready to date myself. I was a toddler when that was going on. And so those particular things was kind of like a group mindset. My neighbors are doing this and they're encouraging me. Like, if I can do it, you can do it too. That kind of thing. You get what I'm saying, right? So, let me just stop again and do some house cleaning. This is Jordana's Crown Knowledge Radio. You can find me Crown Knowledge Radio anywhere on social media. That is Crown with a K. I think some people have been trying to search me with a C, but that's okay. It's going to come up. Either way, we got AI, Chat GPT, all this stuff is going on, and it'll correct you for you, which is weird. But it is Crown with a K. Crown Knowledge Radio. If you want to listen to my archive shows to see if this is a flow for you moving forward. If it's not your cup of tea, I get it. But you can check out my archive shows over on Spreaker.com. I know that's a weird name. Previously Blog Talk Radio, Spreaker.com, Spreaker.com. I think I spelled it right. But yeah, go over there, check out my archive shows. I am on Patreon, Instagram, working on TikTok, YouTube, sort of, kind of. And like I said, social media everywhere. I am not, and I don't plan to be on Facebook. But yeah, check me out. Crown Knowledge Radio, Dodonna Raffia, archive shows, been in existing now for uh, uh, over 20 years. Doing radio, trying to break into new areas of existence as well, Substack.com, and also Stage 32. So check me out. Check out my archive shows. If it's something that you like, you like the flow, the information is interesting to you, go ahead and check that out. So back to what I'm speaking of today is be careful what you covet. And like I said, there had been a time of encouragement, I believe, during those particular times on the planet where there was a movement of whatever sort, not just in the US of A, but in other areas in India, in the UK, in Australia, even Germany, the Eastern hemisphere, Eastern countries. There were certain movements, certain types of energies on the planet. There are certain countries that have long memories, not just ancient histories, but long memories of their ancient history and what happened to them and how their children grew up generations and generations. And now, fast forward today, 2025, these are great grandparents of those individuals who had these long memories of how they were treated and what happened to them. Of course, Black Americans, Afro Americans, African Americans, whatever it is that we're being called right now in America, some of our great grandparents that are still here have long memories. But our ancestors have memories too. That's a whole nother show. But we have long memories, and we've sort of dug into history as much as we possibly can to give to our children, pass it down to young ones about what happened. Same with Germany, same with Japan, China, India. Their lineage has a long memory. There's a memory there. So what am I saying? What does that have to do with, be careful what you covet? Because individuals remember. And based on how you remember your history, your lineage has that in their blood. And when you fast forward to what I'm speaking about today, be careful what you covet. Those, I don't want to use the word spirits, but your ancestry, your ancient ancestry will remind you of what it is that's in your blood, what's in your lineage, what's in your line. Okay, well, Dodonna, what does that have to do with, be careful who you who you watching, because their lineage is what you're looking at. If you're looking at someone's, let's just say they're talented, you're looking at something that has been instilled in their DNA somehow. And I'm not going to get into all of the, celebrity and, the what that is and the, dark forces that people think they practice and all of that. That's something different. That's something completely different. And it is definitely a choice. And people say, oh, well, I didn't have a, yeah. That's a whole different show too. That I'm not really talking about that. I'm talking about, let's just talk about everyday people, your next door neighbor, your friend, your coworker, a family member. And you're looking at this person do very well. And there's something in you, there's a weak link in your chain. Easy for me to say, right? There's a weak link in your chain somewhere that says, we've all been there. You've looked at someone across the room and be like, she cute, or this dude, he got all the women looking at him. There's something. We've all been there at some point. Even the most righteous of individuals, trust me. There's an unspoken something. And if you feed it, it will consume you in ways that you did not see coming. Trust me on this. Well, trust you, Donna, because you've been through it? Absolutely. Everybody has. Everybody on the planet, preachers, popes, peasants, everybody has been through that. I would say especially most, not all, don't come for me, preachers, pastors, rabbis, bishops, cardinals, I don't know, but whatever religious figures especially. And you say, well, why is that? They're supposed to be the most devout of individuals, right? Yeah, but they still have that. And again, I didn't say all, I said some, and there are a lot of them that get a God complex. The Vatican will tell you right straight out that we are the vesica. We are the representation. Point blank, period. That's my understanding. Somebody go in the comments and tell me, nope, that's not what tell me I'm wrong, because that's not my lane. Somebody has a broader knowledge of that. You want to come in the comments and let me know that. But my understanding is I said this vesica, I meant the vicar. They are the vicar. That's my understanding. They are the vicar. And what I know to understand about the vicar of Christ is that they're the representation. Does that give them, the power that the Most High actually has? I don't think so. Again, and then I'm not telling you guys anything brand new. If you want to know the history of the dark side of Catholicism, that's easy to find. Like I said, social media, spin around, close your eyes and throw a rock. You can find it. That's public knowledge. I'm not telling you anything great. But here's the thing, going back to lineage and line and understanding how someone's bloodline is set up. There is a weak link in your chain. It might be set on you. It might be set on another family member that went down for something. Back in the day, Uncle so-and-so or cousin so-and-so or aunt or, our great granddaddy back in the day was, he ran moonshine. I don't know. Whatever it is, there's going to be a test in the chain of your lineage, and it's going to come about in a way that you did not see coming. You may even, I'll go as far to say, have a moment of revelation. This is before enlightenment. If you don't, then you're the weak link. But you will have a moment of revelation where you say, wow, why did I do that? Why did I say that? Why did I act this way towards that person? What's making me do this? What's making me act this way? Why am I sending so much energy towards this person who really hasn't done anything but be good at something, maybe even great, maybe even excel, maybe even gotten wealthy? Let's go all the way. They have done so, and in my gut, it's making me sick. In my gut, it's making me ill. Sometimes physically, sometimes spiritually, sometimes mentally. It's something about this person doing, having, being involved in, encompassed in, or encircled around, or what have you, with something that I don't know that I could do it, but I don't want them to do it. That is a mental illness. There's a link in your chain that might be weak. It is too weak to handle the greatness of someone else. Lord, wow. I don't know. That came from my grandmama, cuz. Yeah, that's not what I was going to say. That is not what I was going to say. But that feeling that you have. My ancestors said that you are too weak to handle the greatness of someone else. That is a mental illness. So what are we talking about? Destiny swapping? Well, destiny swapping is when you physically can picture yourself in someone else's shoes. You can physically imagine this. You are all day, every day thinking about how can I walk in this person's shoes. That's kind of weird. It's bordering on mental illness, but I get it. I have seen individuals and I'm like, I wonder if I could do that. Certain, and again, my mind goes to celebrity because it's like, how do they do that? That's great. That's like, how do you just stand flat footed and belt out something? And I think I might have had a gift of singing and it was taken away because I didn't use it properly. I wasn't obedient at the time. I don't know. Somebody else might hear my voice and say, yeah, she can't sing. That's just reality. That's just humanity. But to physically look at someone and say, not only do I think I can do what they're doing, I can be them better than they're being themselves. That's a mental illness. That is a mental illness. You need to seek help immediately. Because, again, there's a weak link in your lineage somewhere. And that weak link landed on you. All the links in the chain of thousands and thousands of years of lineage in your bloodline, whatever that is, that link at some point has to stop somewhere. Now, the divine orchestration of it all, well, I guess I'll leave that for another time too if we're going to start talking about spiritual connections. We'll talk about that at some other time. But the weak link is going to land on you. It's going to land on you and it's going to bring out all of this. I hate using the word weakness because it brings the vibration down, but it's going to bring out those aspects of your lineage that is going to put your whole bloodline to the test. You don't believe that? You better believe it. Because it's going to either further, it's going to build up on that weakness down the line. Because you have children and your children are going to grow up to have children and your children's children's going to grow up to have children and so on and so forth. You get it. So what are we going to do? Are we going to land on that weakness? How are you going to react? So now this is where the spirituality actually comes in. And again, I'll go back to what I said. Why am I acting this way? And if you begin to ask yourself those questions, that is the most divine spiritual you can call it God if you want to. You can call it a higher knowledge, speaking to your higher self, that intuition. Something comes into your gut, your belly. Something comes into your heart, or you'll get a spark in your mind to say, I really shouldn't do this because either I don't have a reason to, or I need to get over whatever my reason is. That's your opportunity. And you do have a choice. You have a choice. As long as there's nobody standing behind you with a gun to your head, a GUN, or they're not coercing you some kind of way, or you haven't been incapacitated in any way, like with DRUGS or some other something that's saying, oh wow, I wasn't thinking straight. Or you could just come right out and say, you know what, I wasn't thinking straight. That is your opportunity to turn around, to stop, to otherwise say, you know what, this ain't really my lane. I thought it was fun. It looked like something I might have wanted to do. The money looked good. The reward or the consequence on the other side didn't look so bad. I kind of thought that this was me. This is not me. I feel funny. Something's not right. Something's not true. There's something else going on here. Be careful. Be careful what you covet from other people. Again, why do I feel like I can speak on this? Because I was there. We've all been, if you could stand flat-footed in a mirror and look at yourself and say, I've never wanted anything that somebody else has, that's a lie. I've never in my life ever thought about having something that belonged to somebody else. I would, whether it's their partner, their car, their house, their money, their attitude, their spirituality, what they give off to other people. And usually it is the stuff that money can't buy. Doesn't really have anything to do with material. The Most High Creator of all is making plenty of everything material on this planet. There's no shortage of it. Money, there's money out there to be had. Cars, they're making a new car every 15 minutes. Partnerships, there's always another fish in the sea. Baby, just throw your pole back out there. Your pole, your net, whatever you're working with, throw it back out there. A fish will come into your net sooner or later. That's not an issue. Clothes, what else are we looking for? Material. But the things that money can't buy, really. They say money can buy power. I don't think so. I think spiritual power comes from a place where if the Most High put a person in power that has a weak link, you're going to see it. I ain't even going to mention no names right here. I'm not. I'm just going to keep on sliding past that. But if the Most High, if you see a man or a woman in power and those individuals seem to be doing the most, you see a man or a woman in power, and they seem to be doing the most. They are doing the most. No matter who it is. And we've seen a lot of those individuals fall these past couple of years. And when I say fall, what is the old saying back in the day? Yo, your slip is showing. They used to say that about men too. I don't get it, but yeah, I can see your drawers. I can see, your slip is showing, ma'am, sir. And we've seen a lot of that. We've seen the veil come off of and still coming off of a lot of individuals who have this I can't be taken down mentality. Even if it doesn't look like physically on the news, television, social media, whatever, that they are still holding a certain amount of power, you can see something slipping on their face, in their eyes, in their language. You can see it if you have eyes to see. Again, your own holy books say that same thing. Those who have eyes to see and ears to hear, use them. So back to be careful. Be careful what you covet. Again, I just explained destiny swapping. Let's explain envy versus jealousy. And I believe I did a show on this. If you pull up my archive show, I believe I mentioned this in one of the Hidden and Dark Corners podcasts on Spreaker.com. Envy versus jealousy. Again, I'm not the first person to say that jealousy is a mental illness. Envy is one of those things that you kind of have somewhat of an empathetic nature. Not completely, because I'm a complete empath. I had to learn the hard way that I could not be around everybody. It is painful. That's again a session for another show. But envy requires you to have somewhat of an empathetic nature somewhere buried under all of that. I'm not capable. I'm not enough. I don't have enough. You have to, something in you has to have a deep rooted sense of there is something more intelligent than me. There is something higher than me that's going to work out my situation. There's something that's going to download in me and I'm going to get it. If you don't have that in you, then your envy is going to quickly turn into jealousy. And that's where you've crossed that mind of that line of mental illness. And it's going to look, that C word that I don't like to use, I don't like to say crazy, but it's going to look crazy on you. When you are looking at someone to the point where you physically now want to take action on this person and you don't know why. Not really. You could say that this person did something to you, but that's not really why you're doing it. There's something in you that made you feel less than. Like something was taken from you when there really wasn't anything taken from you. Let me pause right here and say something about several people that I know and maybe have met in passing, but most of which I know personally. If you continue to be around your op and you entertain, when I say op, what do I mean? Someone that you know does not have your best interest at heart. You know they don't. You know deep down, we done had an argument, we fell out, I done cussed this person out, I might even whoop their ass for real. I mean, we've been in some kind of debacle and scuffle, and a lot of people say, well, if you can come together and forgive each other, I mean, if you've made that a full circle moment, okay. And you don't see this person as competition or a threat, okay. You don't in the back of your mind have to keep one eye on this person, but you still rock with them. You still let them come into your energy. You still let them in your holiest of holies, if you will, your up close and interpersonal space. This person is walking around in your inner circle and you not really wondering why. That was just a side note for somebody, then for me, because I've seen it happen. I'm watching it happen right now. Like, yeah, that's, and it, like I said, it depends. Family, I can see family giving family a second chance, but there's some family that you can't, and you learn the hard way. You might have learned that lesson 3, 4, 5, 12, 50 times. And you're like, okay, I get it. Some people don't get it right away, but then again, someone like me who has an empathetic nature, you see the mental illness, but you let it slide. That's a big mistake. You see the mental illness, but you let it slide over and over and over and over and over again. And that's a big mistake. But yeah, I never understood individuals who showed you their hand and you still held your hand out to pull them up while they're pulling you down. I've never understood that. That's a weird situation to be in. So jealousy versus envy. Envy means that you're still holding on to somewhere the slightest of empathy for a person, situation, thing, circumstance that you feel like, what would I do in that situation? How would I do that? How would I maintain? There's a saying that goes that, there's actually a study of in people who, for example, win the lottery and they win a lot of money, not just a little bit, not under 50,000, but we're talking about 6 figures and up. Like they've won some serious money. And how you deal with that energy, because money is energy. How you deal with that energy will determine, and there's my bell, that's confirmation, will be determined by the person you already are. And I know a lot of you have already heard that before. If you're a messed up individual, when you're so-called don't have or less than, don't say broke or but when you have a lack mentality and you haven't learned to deal with certain high vibrational energies, because I consider, any money coming out of nowhere is a blessing. But depending on how you look at it and immediately what you think about having this particular energy all of a sudden come into your life, that energy is going to quickly change based on who you are. I'll let you marinate on that one. I have seen it. I've heard it when I was younger. I've seen it as I grew up. And now that I'm a full blown adult, I, I get it. I get it. And it is still true. I don't know where that study went or who was the first person to kind of pick up on that, but that it's incredible. And I will even go as far as to call it a law of nature. It makes sense. It makes chemical sense. Chemically, energetically, if you are a messed up individual, you're just going to be a messed up individual with a whole lot of money. And it's going to show quickly. So I thought that was interesting. So that it still goes along with what I am speaking of regarding jealousy and envy. There is a difference. Jealousy just flat out is a mental illness. That's a mental illness, especially when you cross the line and it makes you feel a certain way about a person or people you don't even know. You immediately have a negative reaction to, and this has gotten me in trouble a lot. Not immediately having a reaction, but immediately assuming that everybody is good. That's gotten me in a lot of trouble because I am a complete empath. I'm a complete empath. But I am now a complete empath with spiritual knowledge, and that's dangerous. But it's also helpful for the right people. So you have to have a level of discernment. There's a whole lot that goes along with that. Like I said, it's a whole nother show. But to look at someone and now you want to cross the line. Not only do I not want to have a positive reaction towards you, I'm going to do something to make other people have negativity towards you. I'm going to actually physically take action. I'm going to lie. I'm going to steal. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to destroy, manipulate. I'm going to do everything heinous to make sure that the way I feel is the way everybody else feels that I talk to. When I talk to someone about you, and I'm going to talk about you often, because if you don't, the narrative won't work. I have to think about you daily. Which is going to bring me to the next part of be careful what you covet. But I'm going to be so enthralled in the person that you are that I'm going to build up a lie in my head, and I'm going to make sure, I'm sorry if you guys heard that. I just hit my mic. But yeah, I'm going to make sure that everyone around you knows my lie. They don't know you, but I'm going to give them my story about you. And I want them to believe it because there is something about you that makes me physically ill, whether it's in my mind, my heart, or my gut. That's where the saying comes from. You make me sick. If you ever heard anybody say that, you make me sick. They're telling you who they are. I can't make this up. They're telling you who you are. If you ever had anybody say, you know what, you make me sick. I've heard couples play with each other. Like, if someone says something particularly clever and they look at their partner and say, "Oh, you make me sick." Yeah, because they're in their mind, they're saying, "You're so bright. You're so brilliant. You come up with stuff on the fly. You think quick on your feet. You make things work that shouldn't work. You put stuff together. I've seen you physically fix stuff with your hand that I couldn't fix. Like, you put your hand on, so everything you touch turns to gold. You always land on your feet. You make me sick." So when somebody tells you that, they're telling you who they are. Please know that. I've heard it a couple of times. I've heard someone come flat out and tell me, "You always land on your feet." I'm sorry, so you're mad at God? This is what I'm hearing. You are literally mad at God. I'm sorry, that's weird. That's mental illness. You are mentally ill, and you need to seek help immediately. So let's go to understanding a person and watching them in a way that it's consumed you. Now, other people say your perpetrators will study you. Your stalker will study you. The person that wants your life will study you. They will look at you. They're looking at you in the physical because there's nothing spiritual about that. I promise you. They could study you from now until the end of time and never know you if you're in that energy. So again, I'm a complete and total empath. I can feel energy that's not even in the same state as I'm in. So that's like I said, that's a whole nother show. But if you are a person that carries that energy, they call it pure energy. It doesn't mean that you're perfect. Please understand that. I've said that plenty of times. Well, does that mean you perfect? No, absolutely not. Not by any stretch of the imagination have I ever been perfect on this planet. Not never, not ever. But do you hold an energy of this is my lane and that's not my lane? And I understand the difference and I understand right and wrong, whether I go to church or not, whether I'm a certain religion or not, whether I practice a certain type of worship or not. I generally know right from wrong because it does not sit well in my spirit and it doesn't sit well in my gut. I make myself sick when I do stupid shit. I do. And it should feel the same for you. When you do stupid shit, it makes you sick. So a person that's looking at you, believe me, they're studying you. They're studying your everything. You ever had something? I have never had this happen to me, but you ever wake up and you see somebody staring at you while you sleep? Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, it's weird in any relationship. I don't care if it's a brother or sister, your kid. You wake up and your child is looking at you while you sleep. Like, yeah, it's weird. If you are somewhere where you cannot sleep peacefully based on the people that's in your house, not the people that's outside, because that is what it is. Put them out or move, because, yeah, that's, you sleep. That's weird. But someone that actually they know where you go to the store, or somebody could call you up, a friend. Let's just say a friend. What you getting ready to do? Oh, I'm finna go get me some eat. You going to King's Deli, ain't you? Like they already know where you going. Switch shit up, cause that's freaky. That's really weird. But, okay, how do you know I'm going to King's? Because I know you like so-and-so and this, and then you like mustard on the side, and then you get fries with seasoning, and then you get some dip on the side. I mean, they know your whole meal. That's weird. That's weird. You hang up the phone like, why is this person studying me? Because there are people out there that really, truly think they know you. They think they know you. You heard what I said. They think they know you. I know her. I know him. He yeah, I know this person. I know what they gonna do. Yeah, this person right here, yeah, they this and they that. And there are people out there telling your story that way. Don't ever let someone spin the narrative on who you are. And if they do, change the narrative. And if you're that pure energy that I was talking about, not perfect, pure. If you're that pure energy, what does that mean? It means being your authentic self. You've heard me say it a million times. If you're that type of energy, the person that they saw at the family reunion is the same person they saw at the funeral. It's not going to change. And every time you come in the room, you make everybody in the room sick. Yeah, it's that kind of energy. I can't make this up. I'm not the only one that has experienced this, and I'm sure that other people are saying, damn, yeah, I get it. Yeah, that's weird. It's weird. It's worse when it comes from family, but these are the things that you need to know about your bloodline. The people in your bloodline does not have to be your family. In some spiritual instances, they're not. And they will tell you repeatedly, I might be kin to you, but I'm not your family. It's funny how you fuck around and find out. I might have your blood, but I'm not your family. And it could go both ways. I mean, it could go both ways, either on your side or their side. Either way, okay, you've let me know too many times that you're not kin to me. Like you might be blood, But you're in no relation to my soul family. You're not related to me on a soul level. And if you pay attention, you will see it every time. It does not fail. Why? Because it is spiritual law. It's spiritual law. I didn't make it up. You didn't make it up. The preachers and the pastors and the churches and the synagogues and the Vatican, they didn't even make it up. This is something much greater than you, much bigger than you. And you can't touch it if you're not seeking pure energy. You can't touch it. You can't even figure it out. All I know is when it comes around, I can see it, I can hear it, and I can feel it. That's a gift. That's what's called a gift. When you hear someone say, "Oh, she's got a gift," or he's got a gift. That isn't something that you can buy. You can't buy it. You can't steal it. You can have all the envy and covetedness in the world. You can't take it. You can't mimic it, and you can't copy it. That's those things that money can't buy. Everything else you can have. you can have it. You can take it. You can steal it. You can steal my car. You can have it. But what the divine has given me, you can't take. You can't steal it. You can't copy it. You can't mimic it. That's why you have so many people watching. You have so many different gadgets and tricks and illusions and smoke and mirror, because you're trying to find a way in and there's no entrance. There's only an exit. There is no entrance. Well, what do you mean there's only an exit? That's the gift. I'll give you an example. And even though it may tend to lean towards the darker side, a famous celebrity that's so famous. I was going to say Beyonce, but that's a bad example because she's finding out, I think, the hard way. You look at the money and you look at how she looks, that's one thing, but the spirituality of it all has turned out to be something that she didn't sign up for, and I get it. Shout out to Beyonce. Hey, she's a human just like everybody else, no matter what you think she believes. Let's try a Michael Jackson. And there still were some dark aspects to that because there was a transformation that we could see physically, but there was also a spiritual aspect of him that came here with him when he was born. And that's kind of what happened to me. But you look at a Michael Jackson, and he came here to do exactly what he came here to do. He did exactly what he came here to do. So, and it's just an example. It's not, the example, but it's just an example of he had a gift that nobody can mimic. I don't care if you're Chris Brown. I don't care if you're Usher. Hell, James Brown came before Michael Jackson, and Michael Jackson had it. They all have their own individual whatever it was, but Michael Jackson had it. It was that thing that, people dressed up like him. They tried to make their face and hair look like him, even through his transformation, his physical transformation, his spiritual transformation. They put on the jackets and the gloves and they tried to mimic, they tried to suck up some of that, whatever it was. Even today, there are individuals that, I want to dance like that. I want to sing like that. I want to be that person. But I can't. And I'm going to hurry up and end this. I think a family member is trying to reach out to me. I'm going to end this. But that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with be careful what you covet. Why? Because it leads to other things that I don't think you meant for it to lead to. You want to be able to pick up someone's spiritual essence and take that and be like them. When God is trying to give you your own gift that's specially tailor-made and cut out just for you. Just for you. That will give you a glow that could outshine someone else. But you can't see your gift in front of your face. You know why? Because your eyes are set on someone else. Something else that belongs to someone else. Someone else that belongs to someone else. Something that is not meant for you. It was given to someone else in their own gift, in their own line, in their own bloodline, in their own spirituality, in their own lineage. So, ending on Michael Jackson, let's start with the man in the mirror or the woman in the mirror. Let's start with who you're looking at in the mirror. You're setting your sights on someone else for something else that does not belong to you. It is not spiritually cut out for you. Well, I'm going to do this and I'm going to put this on that person and I'm going to use magic or voodoo or hoodoo, woodoo, doo-doo. I'm going to do this. I'm going to have this person go to that person and see if I can break them that way. And I'm going to do this to that person. I'm going to do this. Well, I might not get it, but I don't want them to have it either. That's even worse. I think that's a whole nother show. I can't get it, but I'm going to make sure they don't have it. Like, why? What is that going to do for you? I get what you're trying to do to the person, but what is that going to do for you? It's a mental illness. You're mentally incapable of clearing your spiritual path so that you can see the golden ticket that God has laid before you, the golden path that God has laid before you for you. Other people might be envying you, but you can't see it because you have your mentality, your physical humanness so wrapped up in another human being that you can't see the goal that God had laid before you. That's sad. Oh, wow, I can feel that. I can feel that. That is sad. Stop. Turn around, turn your face towards the mirror and the Most High, creator of everything. We didn't get here because they cooked us up in a kitchen in the back of Sam's Club. That's not how we got here. There's something greater than us that put us here for some reason. But that's for you to figure out. Nobody can come up to you and tell you, I know what you're supposed to be doing. I know what you can, unless you are soulfully. That's when they talk about twin flames and your soul tie and all of that. Yeah, I think that's true. There are people that come into your life to show you something, but it might not be the way you think they're going to show you. They may show you by trying to break you down. And then your light comes on. But other than that, you have free will. You can turn around and look in the mirror instead of looking at somebody else. Look in the mirror and say, you know what? Yeah. Maybe I need to do something different here. Maybe. You might not want to. That's okay too. But if you don't think that God has a gift for you when you make the right decision, because we all have it. We all have some type of free will to do exactly what we want to do. But don't think it doesn't come without consequences, because it does. Good, bad, ugly, indifferent. It doesn't matter which side you pick. But everything comes with a consequence of making that choice. I am Dardana, and this is Crown Knowledge Radio. And thank you for joining me this evening. And I'm going to go answer my phone call. Peace, you guys. I'll be back on. I am social media everywhere. Crown Knowledge Radio, Crown with a K. Thank you, and I love you.